911 emergency.
Yes, I'm in the middle of the field. The tape was just pushed some guys over. Right here going towards Javelin on both sides. My truck ran out of gas. There's one car here. The guys taking to the woods. Quick burning.
August 9th, 2013. A quiet stretch of Highway 277 near Bronte, Texas. A young father of four, Brandon Lawson, vanishes into the darkness, leaving behind a cryptic 911 call, a stranded truck, and a trail of unanswered questions that would haunt his family for years. What happened that night? And what really happened after Brandon stepped into the shadows? Brandon Lawson, a 26-year-old man with a bright smile and an infectious laugh, resided in the bustling town of San Angelo, Texas, alongside his longtime girlfriend, Ledessa Lofton, and their beloved children. Each day, he immersed himself in the demanding world of oil field work, where he toiled long hours under the sweltering sun, grappling with grueling tasks that tested his strength and stamina. The days were not just long, they were filled with physical challenges and mental strain. On that fateful evening of August 8th, Brandon returned home just before the clock struck midnight, dragging with him the weight of an exhausting day. Tension hung in the air like a heavy fog. Earlier in the evening, he and Ledessa had clashed in a heated disagreement, one of those arguments that seemed to emerge from a cauldron of fatigue, stress, and the fraying edges of patience. Voices were raised, and emotions ran high, a swirl of frustration and worry that echoed through their home. As the minutes ticked away, it became clear that neither of them was ready to let go of the conflict simmering between them. But at precisely 11:53 p.m., Brandon made a decision. He grabbed his phone, his wallet containing the essentials, and his car keys. Each item a small but significant gesture of his intent to leave the contentious atmosphere behind. Turning to Ledessa, he informed her of his plans to drive to his father's house situated in Crowley, a place about 3 hours away where he hoped to find some solace amidst the chaos. With that, he climbed into his silver Ford F-150, a trusty companion for many journeys, and headed out into the night, the glow of the headlights cutting through the darkness as he sought clarity under the vast Texas sky. At 12:34 a.m., Brandon called his brother Kyle Lawson. His voice was urgent. He told Kyle he had run out of gas near Bronte, Texas. He needed help. Kyle agreed to bring him fuel, but minutes later, things began to shift into something far stranger. At 12:50 a.m., Brandon called 911.
911 emergency.
Yes, I'm in the middle of the field. The tape was just pushed some guys over. Right here going towards Javelin on both sides. My truck ran out of gas. There's one car here. The guys taking to the woods. Quick burning.
Okay, now run that
The
line.
one I talked to home. I surely ran into him.
Ah, you ran into him. Okay.
That's the first guy.
You need an ambulance?
Yes, no, I need to call.
Okay. Is anybody hurt? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Kyle, filled with concern for his brother and his girlfriend, set out with a gas can in hand, determined to help him in whatever way they could. However, as they made their way down the winding road, they encountered a sheriff's deputy who had just discovered Brandon's truck parked on the shoulder. The vehicle appeared undamaged, with no visible signs of trouble, yet the absence of Brandon himself sent a wave of anxiety through Kyle's chest. At this moment of uncertainty, Kyle anxiously pulled out his phone and attempted to reach his brother once more, hoping for reassurance. To his relief, Brandon finally answered the call, but his voice was strained and unsteady, screaming danger. "I'm 10 minutes up the road. Just hurry and get here. I'm bleeding," he urgently informed Kyle. The seriousness of the situation sank in like a stone, but before Kyle could respond, the line abruptly went dead, leaving him in a tense silence. Time seemed to stretch as a thick, uneasy fog settled over him. A few moments passed, and just when hope started to wane, Brandon called again. This time he murmured something about being in the field. Before Kyle could fully process the implications of that statement, the line fell silent once more, leaving him grasping at shadows and filled with dread over what might be happening to his brother just up the road. As the early morning sun began to rise, casting an ethereal glow over the landscape, the deputies continued their meticulous search of the area, leaving no stone unturned in their quest for answers. The truck, which was a touchstone of the investigation, sat there, locked tight, seemingly holding secrets within its metal shell. Curiously, Brandon's keys and phone were nowhere to be found, deepening the mystery surrounding his sudden disappearance. Strangely, there were no signs of struggle, no bloodstains, no footprints that could definitively be linked back to him, adding to the puzzling nature of the situation. Kyle, a close acquaintance of Brandon, was pulled aside for questioning by one of the deputies on duty. The investigator couldn't shake off a nagging suspicion that Brandon might be deliberately evading the police, motivated by an outstanding warrant related to a minor drug charge from several years ago. Still, the thought of him running into the unforgiving brush under the cover of night, when the temperature hovered around a sweltering 100 degrees, raised alarm bells. How could anyone be so reckless as to venture into the wilderness without any water, knowing full well the harsh risks that could come with such an ill-fated decision? As the hours ticked away, the search stretched into the early morning, and by 4:30 a.m., the grim reality settled in. The search was officially called off for the night. The prevailing theory among the deputies was that Brandon had taken off on foot, hoping to dodge apprehension and avoid the repercussions of his past. But his family, who knew him far better than any officer ever could, believed otherwise. They held on to the belief that Brandon had reached out, dialed Ledessa's number, Kyle's, and even 911, clearly indicating he was in distress and urgently seeking help. Whatever unknown force may have loomed over him that fateful night instilled a palpable fear within him, a fear that seemed to shape his every decision as he navigated through the darkness. This fear, coupled with an instinct for self-preservation, painted a stark contrast to the theory put forth by the authorities, leaving his loved ones with an unsettling sense of unease and unanswered questions as they pondered where he could have gone and what truly had happened to him. In the days after, search teams scoured the area, helicopters flew overhead, cadaver dogs were brought in. Nothing. Theories exploded online. Some believe he was under the influence and became disoriented in the rural landscape. Was he attacked? His 911 call mentions guys, possibly strangers, who had confronted him. Did he stage his disappearance? Less likely. but some point to his legal trouble as a reason to vanish. But without evidence, every theory ended in a dead end. For nearly 9 long years, the story of Brandon Lawson lingered in the shadows as a haunting ghost tale whispered among those who delve into Texas true crime narratives, a disembodied voice echoing from a strange, desperate 911 call filled with urgency and fear. His case, shrouded in mystery and uncertainty, captivated the imagination of many, leaving them to ponder the circumstances surrounding his sudden disappearance. Then, in a significant turn of events in February 2022, a land surveyor, while going about his routine work near the area associated with Lawson's vanishing, stumbled upon clothing that sparked renewed interest in the case. Just a few days later, the discovery took a more somber turn as human remains were recovered from the same vicinity. The DNA results subsequently confirmed a heartbreaking truth. The remains belonged to none other than Brandon Lawson himself. While this revelation offered his family some semblance of an answer to the agonizing question that had haunted them for almost a decade, it still left them groping in the dark for closure. The details surrounding the cause of his death remain murky and elusive, shrouded in a veil of uncertainty. Moreover, the troubling mystery of what exactly had chased him into that secluded field and the harrowing reasons that led him to experience such profound terror in those final frantic moments continues to linger in the air, unanswered and unresolved. This deep, unsettling mystery remains, provoking thoughts and questions in the minds of all who hear his story.